open three. Good!
Duarte dribbles
And slams with the right hand.
for the third time in the last 5 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champions.
Foley three. Good! Foley ball. Out Shelley. Three ball. Good! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. Happy Hump Day on a Wednesday. We're going to talk a little Oregon Volleyball with assistant coach Erika Dillard coming up. Also, senior defender from Oregon Soccer, Mia Palmer, will be our guest. Some announcements out of the Pac-12 today. We also have a few things to tell you about from Oregon Athletics, and we'll take your Facebook comments and questions as well. Also on YouTube, for those of you who haven't found us on YouTube yet, you can always find the show there as well. And boy, you know, we've got just a number of things to go over today. And I do want to begin with the fact that Erika Dillard is, I'm told, going to be one of the best interviews that we've ever had. I've never had Erika on the show, talked to her a few times, but Matt Ulmer has always told me, like, you got to have Erika on the show. And he's not the only person that has said that. And I don't mean to put a bunch of pressure on Erika here, but I think that Coach Ulmer, knowing him, probably put some pressure on her already. But we're going to have a good time talking with her. Her career, she's a great player, Long Beach State, best friends with Coach Ulmer, and now getting to coach with him. It's a pretty cool story. We're going to have her tell it for you here coming up on the program. Fall programming is something that we've been working hard on, and what the fall slate is going to look like, well, I can tell you what it's going to look like now. We actually have confirmed that we're going to do a couple different things this fall on the Oregon Sports Network. And they're going to start in about 2 weeks. In fact, 2 weeks from yesterday is when our first Great Ducks show will debut. This is going to be a lot of fun. So essentially what we're going to do, since we won't have a coaches show in the fall, Jerry, Jorgie, Terry, and I put our heads together and we were like, so what the heck are we going to do? Then we asked Scott, just to be nice, what he thought about the situation. And Scott's actually, going to help us produce it and make it look good. And, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Great Ducks. So the idea came from, we've never really had the time to go sit down and talk about the greatest Ducks in history. And it's not necessarily going to be like a top 10 show, but that was kind of the genesis of this. Top Ducks, right? Like, who are the top Ducks at each position? And let's celebrate these guys. And since we don't have any live football games going on for Oregon right now, why not celebrate the history a little bit? That's what we're going to do. So Jerry, Jorgie, Terry, and myself, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, you can watch the show on the Oregon Football Facebook and Oregon Football Twitter. You can also tune in across the Oregon Sports Network. Check your local listings for the affiliate in your area. Also, GoDucks.com/radio has you covered there. And essentially, the four of us are just going to go through the history of each position group at Oregon and highlight some of the guys that we feel are the quote-unquote great Ducks. And I want input from fans. We want to hear from you. Did we screw the list up? Lord knows we will. Let us know. And we'll be talking about it on Duck Insider, too. I think that everybody on Duck Insider on the Monday and Tuesday prior to our Great Ducks show will probably talk about it. You guys are all probably going to know my list before Jerry, Jorgie, and Terry do. It's going to be fun, though. So we're actually going to start with wide receivers. And I've already gotten into a debate of, what about guys that played kind of like, that slot or H-back, like they played a little running back, played some wide receiver. Byron Marshall, for example, and I'm already getting into the weeds here. Byron Marshall, for example, had one of the best individual receiving seasons, but he was also a running back. Is he on either one of the lists, or because of his one season as a receiver, where I think he was like 6th all time on a single season in receiving yards? Like, where do you put him? Was DeAnthony Thomas a stereotypical running back? No. Is he a receiver? No. Which list is he on? Is he on one of the lists? He's a return man, and that's how we're going to remember. I mean, that's going to be fun, how all of us talk about the different position groups. So we're going to do that. We're trying to probably have about 10 guys featured per show. But to be honest, there's probably going to end up being like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 that we mentioned because Jerry's list might be different than mine. And to be honest, I'm probably going to have some recency bias. I'm 27 years old. Jerry, Georgie, and Terry are not. There's probably some recency bias for me. And now, the other thing, I was talking to actually my wife about this. Maybe I will overcorrect as a result, and I'm just going to go deep dive into the record books, forget about all the current guys, and I'll have some guys from the 20s and 30s and 40s that Jerry and Georgie are even going to be like, why? You know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. And so who is the best? We'll see. Interesting question coming from Ken. The cheerleaders calendar for this year. I don't know, actually. No update on that. I will ask. Consider it noted. I'm actually going to write that down. We actually, that's a good question. I hadn't even thought about that. So we'll find out. I know people are wondering. And then let's see. Also after Great Duck. So we're going to do all those shows going through the position groups every Tuesday, starting not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, whatever day of the week that is, or whatever date that is. I don't have a calendar in front of me. Is it the 15th? Is that right? I think it's the 15th. Tuesday, the 15th. That sounds right.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Is it? I don't know. The point is that we're going to do Great Ducks every Tuesday, starting not next week, but the following week. And you can watch the show. You can tune in just like you do for Duck Insider. It is the 15th. I'm glad that I could figure that out. I didn't even know what today's date was, to be honest with everybody. So we're going to do that coming up on Tuesdays. Also, what is a Saturday going to look like? Well, we're going to basically do what everybody who's like me and Scott, we're going to rewatch and re-listen to last season before the next season coming in the winter and spring. You know how everybody goes back and watches the previous season? They binge it, if you will. Like Scott, I know, is going to be binge watching The Mandalorian Season 1. He probably has already done that a few times. He's going to do it again because the new season now comes out October 30th. We're very excited about this. We're nerds. But that's exactly what we're going to do on Saturdays in the fall. The 2019 OSN Classic season, a great year in Oregon football history. We're going to have Jerry and Georgie live doing a pregame show. We're going to re-listen to all 12 victories from the season. Jerry and Georgie will cut in with some updated analysis. We'll highlight some of the current players, keep you in touch with what's going on in Oregon and around Oregon athletics in general, not just with the football team. And we're going to do that every Saturday coming up starting on the 19th. So we're just going to skip the Auburn game. That's fine. And then get right back into the wins of the season. That's our plan for Saturday. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that you'll join us to relive a really, really great season. Breaking news from Scott Phillips. He has worked the text line, and sources say...
Yeah, we talked to the cheer coach just right now. No calendar.
No calendar
this
year.
That's the update from the cheer coach. So
sorry, Ken.
Sorry.
Hey, way to get an answer. Way to work the sources. Producer Scott Phillips. That's really, really well done. I see that Erika Dillard is connected. She's with us. So I want to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll introduce you to Erika. I don't know if you heard me say this, but we've been told that you will be the best interview that we've ever had on Duck Insider.
Get out of here.
It's been said.
Okay, I'm
so
ready.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that there's pressure. But
I like pressure.
Okay, see, that's all right. We're already off to a good start, so this is going to be great. So anyway, if you have more questions on the fall programming updates, let me know. We'll go through it over the next few weeks. On Duck Insider today, we'll also have a conversation about the Pac-12, their latest announcement in regards to social justice, voting, important things that we're going to talk about, and some other products news, and Erika Dillard is here. So quick timeout, then we're going to come back for the best interview that Duck Insider has ever seen. It's presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Erika Dillard is joining us. We just caught up with her a little bit during the break, talking about your kids. And I did want to ask you about that, actually, Coach, because, well, it's a different time with kids, especially right now. A lot has changed, and we're going to talk about that. Also, though, I want to talk a lot about you and what brought you to Oregon. And I don't know if you've been prepped for this. Maybe you've been told that I have some shenanigans up my sleeve. I always do. It's the first time that we've had you on the show. I apologize for that. That's my fault. Matt likes to come on every week.
That is your fault, actually.
Yeah, it is. I admit it. I totally know that. And I was expecting that sort of comment. So now, can we both blame Coach Ulmer though, because he likes to come in every week with his socks and sandals during a regular volleyball season, and who am I to stop him?
I actually have a bone to pick with you because I heard you called him the California boy, and he's from Chicago.
I know.
And he lived in California. Like, I was born in Cali. I lived 35 years of my life in California. And you could not pay me to wear socks with sandals. So that is not a California thing. That's actually disrespectful to us. I can't believe Dave wore them to joke with you last week. That was embarrassing to the program. Not okay. See this? This is what Californians wear. Rainbow sandals.
Yes, you are correct. But Erika, I have full disclosure. I called him the California boy kind of to make fun of him because I'm from California.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm sorry. Now maybe we're getting into the too many of the details here, but I'm from the Central Coast in California. I'm from Santa Cruz, so traditionally NorCal, SoCal, we don't really get along all that well.
No, we don't.
So we're off to a
hella. You say hella.
No. That's a Valley, California thing. That's like into Sacramento. No. Wow, we're off to a good start today. Erika Dillard is joining us. What I was trying to get to is that it's the first time you've been on the show. Again, my fault. You have to tell your 2-minute life story.
I was told by David that he nailed it by 2 minutes exactly, and so he was really pumping himself up the other day.
Well, it had never happened before because I actually have my stopwatch ready.
That's amazing.
For you, and I'm not kidding. I looked down, and it was 2 minutes when he was done talking.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
The 2-minute life story of Erika Dillard.
Okay. So grew up in Southern California, 1 of 2 kids. I have an older brother that's 4 years older than me that played football in college and lives up in the Bay Area now. Mom and dad still married, living in the house that I was raised in. Played basketball and softball my whole life. Never picked up a volleyball till I was a freshman in high school. I was on the freshman volleyball team, played my first year at club, got good pretty quickly. My sophomore year, I was recruited and committed to Long Beach State, which is where I played in college. I was a middle and an outside. I am going to date myself here, but there was not a libero my first couple years of college. And so I actually learned how to play the whole game, and I really take pride in that. So blew out my shoulder my senior year, redshirted, came back and played another 5th year of volleyball, thought I would play pro, bad arm, ended up getting into coaching because I was a volunteer assistant graduate coach at the University of Laverne. So I got my MBA, coached for 2 years, fell in love with it, said this is how I can still be a part of volleyball without playing anymore. I ended up at Long Beach State, my alumni, which is where I met Ulmer. 2009 was my first year there as a paid assistant with Maddie, was there for a decade. I, during that time, met my husband, who is a club volleyball owner of a volleyball club named Golden West in Anaheim. Fell in love with that dude who was my boss, didn't get paid any more money. I think that that's absurd. I moved to Oregon when Matt became the head coach here, and absolutely love it in Eugene. I have a 4-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son. Both of them are more sass than I can handle, but it's genetic. So here I am.
Minute 53. Pretty darn good. Great 2-minute life story. Okay, I have multiple follow-ups, so you have to bear with me.
I'm ready.
Everybody still calls you Chid.
Yes.
You have to tell everybody why, and I think it's an obvious story, but it's a big part of you still.
Well, it's funny because my maiden name was Chidister. No one spelled it right or said it right ever. It's spelled C-H-I-D, Chid, Esther, E-S-T-E-R. Seems simple, is not. So growing up as a kid, my brother was Chid. I was little Chid.
Okay.
And then when he graduated and went to college, and then I came to the same high school, I became Chid, and it just kind of carried through college, which is how I met Maddie, and we always called me Chid. And so the funniest thing now, though, is because it wasn't like I was Erika Chidister, people call me Chid, it makes total sense. Now, like signature lines or Erika Dillard, I still sign everything as Chid, and people will literally not be, they're like afraid to ask me.
Right.
And so then sometimes the players will say, why do I call you that? Like the older players just call you that, so I do it. And it was actually when I got here, our trainer is Erika. So it was not going to happen that the two females in the gym had the same name. So I was Chid here. She's Erika Kendrick, who's now Bellamy. And, we just roll with it.
So how often did people say it wrong? I mean, you said nobody ever got it right. So you got to understand. Like
they add letters. So it's like Chipester, Chichester, Chimester, and it's like, no, it's just Chidester. It's not hard. But when I got married and I could inherit Dillard, I was so happy to change my name on every document because you can't really screw up Dillard.
That's true. Dillard, but I wouldn't hear that. I could see maybe with like Chidester, like you add a D almost, like an extra D sound, but
yeah. I actually feel worse for my brother because he was the one that was playing Little League Baseball, and you know how they have the announcer.
Yes.
Like every time he gets up to home plate, it'd be a family joke because they would not only say it wrong, but then they'd change it every time he went up to bat and say it wrong another way. It was awesome.
So it became, it became the norm to say it wrong. You have to say it wrong. It's like a rite of passage. I like that. Erika Dillard joining us, Oregon Volleyball assistant coach. Could you elaborate a little bit more just on your time at Long Beach? I know that was a special place for you, Coach Ulmer, where you guys met. You guys really had a great run there.
Yeah, when I was playing there, we were #1 in the country. So I got an opportunity to go to a Final Four and be in a national championship match. And I think what makes Long Beach really special for anybody that's played, been an alumni or coach or any part of that program is it just holds a lot of tradition. My former boss, who was my college coach, Brian Gimolero, he's one of the greatest of all times in our sport. He taught Matt and I a ton about what we do as coaches, but he was really important in teaching discipline. And I try to really instill that in a lot of the players here, getting them to understand that the discipline that you perform in your craft on the court really carries over to your personal life. And you don't know it when you're in the program, but when you get out, it really has taught you to be a better public speaker, a better girlfriend, a better wife, a better mother. I mean, all co-worker, all these different facets of just the discipline in that program is really shaped who I am.
That's awesome. I mean, that honestly, that's like the perfect encapsulation of what like a great coach is. You learn a lot from them, and then they mold you. I mean, and now that you're getting a chance to do that, I mean, that's got to be a pretty rewarding feeling that you're kind of continuing that.
I love my job. I always say I'm not. I feel like this is a women and men thing. Like, I know that my husband, Matt Ulmer, Dave Butler, they could tell you the score of a Bulls and Laker basketball game from the 80s. I couldn't tell you what our record was 2 seasons ago. Okay. So it's one of those things where they're so number related. And I feel like with me, my biggest goal is just to be a huge mentor to these young women. I mean, we just have such an amazing group of people, ages 18 to 22, and you can craft, and I can show them what it's like to be a mom and a sister figure and a mother figure to them, and that they can go have a great job and then still be a wife and still have kids and kind of do it all. And I love that part, the relationship you create and the fact that you get to talk to these kids a decade later that you coached many moons ago. I mean, that's why we do what we do.
That's awesome. Erika Dillard joining us. You know, one of the things that I've often loved being around your guys' program coach is, you know, I see your kids there a lot with you. And I mean, that's got to just be a really cool facet of what you guys have with the culture of this program, that your family is really kind of now an extension of the team's family and vice versa.
My first season here, I mean, Matthew Knight Arena is an incredible place, and Oregon, they just don't miss on anything. You know, everything's done right. And one of my favorite memories that year is when the last point falls and the CMS workers can't stop all these tiny toddler human beings that are erotic, you know, so they're just running on the court, and Matt's kids and my kids. And that's just the coolest part, that they actually think that they own this facility. So they run around, and that part is just, there's nothing that can describe that as a parent of when your babies come run and just feel like they're a part of it. It just gives me chills when I think about it. So cool.
They don't own the facility?
My daughter is convinced that Donovan lives in that office, our equipment guy. She is very upset because the sickness, we call it as COVID, has closed down Penny's pantry, so she can't get a snack of goldfish. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things in a 4-year-old's world that have just turned upside down with MKA right now.
We need to find a name for Donovan's office. He's the equipment manager for Matthew Arena. I mean, Penny's pantry is just as perfect as it gets. So by the end of the show today, I need to find a name for Donovan's office.
You know, when you're a kid and you think your teachers live in their classroom?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, my wife can attest to that. She's a second grade teacher, and I'm pretty sure her kids were, like, when remote learning became a thing, her kids could not fathom that she wasn't in the classroom.
Yeah. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I get it. Erika Dillard joining us. You know, I want to ask you a little bit about Coach Ulmer. You guys have such a great relationship. Coach Butler, too. I just think it's so cool because you guys have described each other as best friends. When you came up here to join Coach Ulmer on the staff, I mean, that's got to just be like a dream come true for a friendship where you guys get to work together in this capacity. I mean, just how do you describe your relationship with Coach Ulmer and just what it's meant to you and just sort of everything that comes with that?
Yeah, it's when we got hired, Brian and Debbie, who were our 2 mentor coaches, they had coached together for 23 seasons. So Brian walked into our office and looked at both of us and said, well, here's a list of all the things that need to get done. You 2 just figure it out. So we literally went down the list, and I said, well, I'll do that. And he said, I'll do that. And I'll do that. You do that. And that's how we kind of created this relationship. And we worked together for 5 years, and he's my best friend. And when he left, it was really hard because I just thought that we'd be there forever, you know, together. And he had this great opportunity to come be the assistant here. And, you know, I always said, like, I'm going to come back and work for you one day when you get a big job. And my husband and I actually came, and we call it our unofficial recruiting trip. So the May before that Matt was hired as the head coach, I just came up here and we stayed for a couple days just to see if Oregon was a place that we wanted to live. and we had a great time. And that was the following season. That November was when he got told that he would get to remain on staff. And so, we have a really tight relationship. He's my best friend. He knows my strengths. He knows my weaknesses. He appreciates who I am as a person. And I love working for a boss that lets me do my own thing, and he's never micromanaging me. He trusts me. I can be with the kids. I get my stuff done. I am very type A. I run at a different speed, my motor. And so I just never have to ask permission for him. He's just really great about letting me kind of be who I am around the athletes, and we work really well together. And we live 2 houses away. We have 2 houses in between ours. So
really?
We live on the same street. Yeah. His kids are like my own babies. This is just, it's an incredible opportunity here. I love it. I love the people that I work with. We have a great administration. It's so cool that our kids get to grow up on the same street. They don't even know what is going on, that our world's in a national pandemic. They've just been in a summer camp for 6 months, raging in the streets,
I get that.
So,
that's
yeah.
awesome. I've talked to Coach Ulmer about this in the past, but I just think it's so cool hearing it from both sides of the friendship. It's almost like we're getting a peek into like an old time friendship, and I don't know. I just think this is cool. Now I have to ask you, because all of the positives and the negatives and everything that comes with a friendship, there's also always a lot of embarrassing moments that come with a friendship. So I have to ask you, I got to qualify this. Most radio appropriate embarrassing thing.
I have a really good Ulmer Dillard story for you.
Excellent.
So we got hired, like I told you. My boss had literally been coaching for 23 seasons already at Long Beach, and he was the greatest at his craft in the gym. Everything outside of the gym, it was like, I trust my assistants, get your work done. So Matt and I are hired, and we're so excited, and we're 24 years old, and we've got these D1 coaching jobs, and we just are both coaching club at the time, because, in SoCal, you have to coach college and club to pay a bill. So it's January. We have our polos on, and we're going to go recruit that first tournament. So Matt and I are recruiting, and we're watching these kids, and all of a sudden, one of our dear friends of the sport, who we still laugh about this story today, comes up and goes, "What are you guys doing here?" We're like, "Well, we're recruiting. We just got hired. We're college coaches. This is awesome." And she goes, "You're in a non-recruiting period right now." And literally our faces were just like white. So we had an NCAA violation within the first month of both of our college jobs, because our boss didn't tell us that there were things called quiet periods and dead periods, and didn't say anything when we said we're going to go recruit this weekend. Nothing. Crickets. So we had to self-report. And the only reason why that other coach was there is because she was at an NAIA school. So they just have a different set of rules. But I will never forget that moment. And it was so funny.
I mean, I'm glad that you laugh about it now, but I imagine in the moment you guys were like, "Oh no, what just happened?"
I'm like, we're going to get fired before we even got our first paycheck. This is awesome.
I'm glad that you can laugh about it now. That is a good story. Yeah. That's a good.
It's been a long time. And we still laugh now, so this is another fun one. Matt and I have had we are both very, very competitive. He's like competitive, like so beyond sometimes you just want to punch him in the gut, but and it's like a brother sister want to punch you in the face type of relationship. But we have a competition when we take our NCAA exams, because we go for who can take it the fastest. And see, he always believes that the fastest taker is the winner. And I'm like, well, that's fine if we have the same score. But see, I got 100% this year and he missed one, but he took it like a few seconds faster than me. So I still win. And like the rule is always I win anyway, but we used to bet like lunch. So whoever would win had to buy the other person lunch. And that's been going on for decades with us.
All right. He missed one.
So I'll make sure I report back when I take it again and tell you that I've won for another year.
Excellent. We'll have a score sheet here just for you. We've got a whiteboard over here on the side and we well, and this is going to be sad, but also we can make it interesting and fun for everybody again. We had an intern whiteboard. And so you can imagine in today's world, we don't have our interns like we usually do. So Scott and I are feeling very lonely. So this is great. We're going to convert it to a scoreboard of Ulmer Dillard.
Make everything more fun,
Yeah. They do.
Always.
They really do. Well, I got to tell you, I still have like 5-6 questions to ask you, but we got to take a time out. Can you hang out for a few minutes and come back for another segment? This is great. Erika Dillard, assistant coach, Oregon Volleyball, joining us. We got more coming up. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a delicious Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. And all the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't get Humpty to try a different zero sugar soda again.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm place on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Joining us, Erika Dillard, Oregon Volleyball assistant coach. We've been talking just a lot about you, which is great just to get to know you, I think, for fans. And I'm kind of curious. Obviously, having Matt Ulmer up here was a big reason why you came to Oregon. So if we could just throw all that aside for a second, which I know is hard to do, but throw all that aside and just give us the perspective of why you liked Oregon and why you came to Oregon after that unofficial visit. And then, I guess an official visit probably happened a little later on, right?
Yeah. I have really embraced that it's a little bit slower pace. I lived in Newport Beach, California for the 11 years before I moved up here. And I just really like that my kids can run around in the street. I have this amazing neighborhood. I think that the facilities here are fantastic. I walked around and said, wow, like, how are you not going to get recruits to come here? This place is so special. I think that we're really lucky. And I say this all the time. I don't think that the athletes here always appreciate how fantastic our athletic department is. And unless you've been elsewhere, you don't know how great Rob is. Lisa Peterson is amazing, and so these kids just think this is normal. And I always say, like, this is not how it is at all schools. Like, you really are in a fantastic place where people treat you like you're just one big family. And that's how we coach. So it's nice to see it coming from the top down. But yeah, I love that Oregon is so clean and you can be outside and my kids can run around. That part is just so cool to me.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool for me. Anybody who didn't sort of, quote unquote, grow up at Oregon. I mean, because I did. I admit that. Like, I've only ever worked here after I went to college here. So it's always cool for me to hear from people that have come from elsewhere and be like, no, this is actually the real deal. Because then, selfishly, it's like, yeah, I'm still here. Made the right decision. So I get it. Erika Dillard joining us. I'm kind of curious on a more serious note. You guys dealt with a lot of injuries on your roster last year. I know you dealt with injuries as a player, as you alluded to. Has that helped you? And maybe it's an unfortunate thing that maybe it does help you, but has that helped you be able to relate to student athletes that you also went through all those injuries?
I'm a big advocate of trying to get these young women to understand that when you come to college, you're preparing yourself here to be a professional volleyball player, because our goals are not to just make you really good here. We want you to go continue on and play pro and represent our national team if you're given that opportunity. So for me, I always say, like, you have to be advocates of your own body. So you have to have a really good relationship with your training room staff, your strength coaches, your coaches, that like you have to be candid enough to say, like, listen, Matt, like my arm is really bugging me today. Like, can I do things that I don't use my shoulder a ton? And you have to communicate that with a trainer. And so I keep telling these kids, like, you're not being a hero if you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing because you think you're going to disappoint us. We understand, we were all players back in our time, that you have to be managing yourself smarter and not just going so hard that you're going to make your injuries worse. So I try to really be like a sounding board for them on that. I think being the only female, it's just, you're going to naturally have different conversations with the girls than the guys are going to have. And I appreciate that. And I think it's good that they can say things to me that I'm not going to, judge them one way or another. At least I can say, hey, Maddie, like, this is what you need to know. And then there's some things where the boys don't need to know, and that's totally okay. And I think that's the beauty of having somebody on the staff like that the kids could come to. But yeah, definitely for the injury part is just really trying to also get them to understand. I mean, we talk a ton about mental health with these kids, is that it's super hard to be injured when your identity is that you're an athlete. So especially things like season-ending injuries, and you're really sidelined, and it's not just like a simple, you're going to take a couple of weeks or a few days off of practice, things like that. Like, they really need to know that you're not alone. This is really hard. You're allowed to be upset about it, but then you also have to find, like, what can you do? And I use the term to them all the time, like, really compartmentalize what's bad, because sometimes when you're injured, you could say, well, everything's bad. Well, is it really bad? Like, school's not bad. Family's not bad. Your relationships with your teammates aren't bad. Your injury sucks. That's bad. But like, let's talk about the big picture.
Compartmentalizing the suck is a good thing to do.
Compartmentalize your suck at all times.
That's right. I'm with it. I get it. I'm right there. Erika Dillard joining us. A couple more things. I just want to ask you a little bit about the team. I mean, the way we've talked to Coach Ulmer about it, talked to Coach Butler about it, and just adapting to this climate, what you guys are able to do right now, and just how they've handled such an unfortunate circumstance that is no fault of their own.
Yeah, I think that everybody was a little bit more hesitant and maybe more pessimistic than optimistic about what it was going to look like. But it's been great. Like, since we've been in the gym, you're wearing your masks and you're maintaining your social distance. So we're not playing 6-on-6, but we're making the best of the situation. And we had a lot of injuries last year. We had a lot of young kids. Like, this is a great opportunity right now that we are, doing the little things with them and getting back to the fundamentals and the basics. And you're able to really concentrate almost like 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 with the 3 coaches in the gym. And so I'm trying to, really embrace this time and be grateful for it, that we're not a team that's not even practicing right now. And it's hard with social media because kids see other teams and if other states and areas, and they don't it's like every county's different. So there's some people, they're not wearing masks and they're playing 6-on-6. Well, that's not the cards that we're dealt right now, but they have great attitudes and we're getting better every day. And I'm just happy to be back working. Like, I driving my car and putting gas in the tank, like, that's an incredible feeling. I did not do that for a very long time, Yeah.
I honestly, there was a period there where I don't think I got gas in my car for 6 weeks.
Mine was over 2 months because I had filled it up the day before COVID hit because I was going to take a recruiting trip and my flight got canceled. And so for 2 months, like, I did not put a full tank of gas in my SUV. It was incredible. Like, what is going on in the world?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Well, Coach, this has been great to get to know you. We're gonna have to do this again because I have like 5 other things still that I now have added to my notes to ask you.
I heard that you're really letting your hair grow. I just wanted to know, do you need to borrow my brush?
Well, yeah, I probably do. The problem is
I've heard about this. I keep telling Dave to please cut his hair because it looks horrible.
Well, thanks.
No, that Dave's hair, not yours.
Oh, thank you. Yes, good correction. Yeah. No, it's getting to be ridiculous. I'm on record saying that I would cut it when we played an Oregon sport again.
I'm all about it. I have some extra hair ties. Let me know if you need me to come through.
Thanks. I might need like the full,
Headband.
makeover, headband. Yeah. Running has become a very difficult task with I can't see. So thanks for bringing it up. That was great.
You're welcome.
Erika Dillard, assistant coach, Oregon Volleyball. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do this again, and good luck working with the team. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
We're going to get a quick timeout. When we come back, shifting gears to Oregon soccer, talking with senior defender Mia Palmer. That's next. Stick with us. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Welcome back for another episode of ASMR with Alex. Today, we're exploring the delicious, refreshing sounds of Pepsi. Oh, spilled a little there, but don't worry, it's all under control. Now for the best part. Pepsi. That's what I like. Nailed it. My subscriber is gonna love this one.
Locally owned Bigfoot Beverages is proud to support the Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. And today's show brought to you by Jackson's. Everyday specials on all your necessities at Jackson's. Go Ducks. Thanks to your local neighborhood Jackson's for their support. Your Cafe AM 2-minute drill coming up. Erika Dillard was great. I joke and I'm kind of joking that she was going to be like the best interview that we've ever had. Everybody's told me that around the department, and when I've talked to her in the past, I've been like, yeah, she'll kill it, and she did. She did. Really cool getting to know her, and she had to bring up the hair. I really was hoping that this was going to be like a playoff beard. Like the playoff beard is just, I'm in for a good playoff beard. But now the hair.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Scott, it's long.
Yeah, but you said not until there's a game.
I know.
So.
Also, for everybody watching Scott's camera right now, we have Dillard 1, Ulmer 0.
So hopefully Matt's watching.
We have the scoreboard now. It is officially up in the studio. Yeah, I guess I got to. We might be wearing hats on the show every day. I think we're getting closer and closer to that. Would everybody agree? I think Scott already wears a hat on the show every day, so we're getting closer and closer to that. We've talked with Mia Palmer for about 12 minutes. We're not going to be able to get to all of it today. We'll have the rest tomorrow. But I do want to let you listen in on our conversation with a senior who is an Oregonian, has been around the Ducks the last 4 years, heading into her senior season. What's it like working out in these conditions, and also Graham Abel, first-year head coach, talking a little bit about that with Mia Palmer and how she's approaching her senior season for Oregon soccer. Talking soccer with Mia Palmer coming up. Mia, I got to start here first just by saying thanks for taking the time to join us. You guys, I know, are very busy and making a lot of adjustments all the time these days. Thanks for taking the time. How are things?
Good, yeah, of course. Just busy schedule right now, just getting back into practices, but I'm having fun, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that process has been like. I know you guys went through the onboarding process, a lot of different moving, changing parts. Give fans a sense of what that onboarding process is like and what's it been like getting back to practice.
Yeah, so we got tested for COVID, and then we had to do physicals and fill out forms. We had 2 different tests for COVID to make sure we had the blood test and then the nasal one. And then, just having a physical, making sure we're all feeling well before we started practicing. And that all took maybe a week. And then, we did have to quarantine for people who traveled from home for at least 7 days. But I've been in Eugene, so I've been doing that for this whole time. But yeah, that was the process. And then, we started having some meetings and then we started practicing again. Yeah.
So what's it been like getting back to practice? I mean, is that just for you guys such a release after everything that's been going on? You're nodding. I imagine it must just be a great time to be back on the soccer field.
Yes, it's so nice to have organized practices again. Practicing, you can only do so much on your own, just with one other person or a small group. But even though we can't do contact right now, we still can do a lot with positionally and just tactically. So it's been really, really fun and really individual too with specific drills that we're doing. So it's been awesome for me. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you about is just what do these workouts look like without contact? We've seen the photos, you guys wearing your masks. I mean, just what's practice like? What are you guys able to do at this point?
Yeah, so we have to wear masks all the time, but except for drinking water, we physically distance. Basically the whole practice. We can't use our locker room, so we have chairs set up 10 feet away from each other so we can leave our bags, our waters. And then practices, we stay at least 6 or 10 feet apart. And we just do passing patterns, finishing drills, crossing drills, or little small passing. We do a lot of passing or just technical drills too, just dribbling with cones and stuff like that. So it's good getting the basics down back because we haven't been together for a while. So it's been really good.
Mia Palmer joining us. You're one of the seniors on this team, Mia. I mean, what's that like and trying just to be a leader, especially with some of the freshmen coming in? What are you telling the young freshmen that are coming in? And this definitely isn't the first year of college they thought they were going to have.
Yeah, definitely. It's different for everyone, but being a senior, I have more experience, so just try not to freak out about every little thing or everything that's different. I know it's super overwhelming. Everything is different. Everything is changing, and literally every day anything could happen. So just trying to stay relaxed, not freak out about every little thing or every change in the schedule or everything. So that's what I've had to remind myself, and just know that it will get better, and but just take literally advantage of everything that we can do right now, the practices we're doing right now. Not a lot of sports are even practicing right now, so we just need to take advantage of it and make the best of it.
Spring season is scheduled for the full season. Now, going back in time a little bit, spring season's not a new thing for you guys. It's just that maybe this one's going to be a little bit more intense once we get there with the adjustment. But what was it like losing the spring season? And also, I guess part 2 of that is now that you kind of have the light at the end of the tunnel looking forward to the spring, does that help you guys out there and just kind of with motivation too?
Yeah, definitely. Just, I know for myself, not knowing what I was working towards was really hard for motivation, just like every day. So having just like a day or at least like something in the schedule is just awesome. It helps me and like work towards something for my future. So that definitely helps. But losing a spring season, it was tough because spring is always like really fun. It's not as like intense as like your regular fall season. So it's like you get to try new things, and sometimes you're just like playing with new people, and it's just like, it's really fun. So I was sad about that, but it was for the best, and we're enjoying what we have now.
What was the academic adjustment like, Mia? I mean, going to distance learning, I was talking to Jordan about this, that, athletes, I feel like you guys are better equipped than the majority of students because you guys are already kind of used to some form of remote learning throughout your seasons. What was that adjustment like, and what are you anticipating here coming up in the fall?
Yeah, so I've definitely taken a lot of online classes just due to traveling a lot during fall and just time crunches. So I'm used to that, like you said, but having all my classes online was definitely just unique. It was different. It was an adjustment, but it was doable. Just had to like keep a schedule, stay on top of things, made sure you just made time in your day or a schedule. That was a big thing for me, just making my own schedule and like honestly sticking to it, because you can do anything in a whole day. So, and finishing it more in the morning rather than leaving it later for like later in the day.
Continuing our conversation with Mia Palmer, we'll do that tomorrow, reflecting a little bit on the academic challenges that they'll face now coming up in the fall and what workouts are looking like. We're going to talk with Mia Palmer a little bit more coming up on the show tomorrow. Up next, your Cafe 2-minute drill, some quick hitters from around Oregon athletics, including some announcements from the Pac-12 today and a great story about the Sewell family. That's all still to come as we wrap up Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, after this in the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, some other quick hitters around Oregon athletics. Your Products viewing guide, you got a pair of WNBA matchups tonight. Wednesday, that's today, against the Los Angeles Sparks, 5 p.m. on the CBS Sports Network. Satu Sabali and the Dallas Wings in action. And Ruthie Hebard, 4 p.m. on Facebook, the Chicago Sky playing the Minnesota Lynx. David Peterson was the projected starter today for the Mets, but they're underway right now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, and Petey is not on the mound at last check. Some good news for Oregon softball and the Athletes Unlimited League. Yeah, Gwen Savekis went number 1 overall in the latest Athletes Unlimited draft. A pretty solid week for Gwen previously. DJ Sanders, Janie Reed, Chris Hovingay, and Gwen Savekis, they're all on the same team. Isn't that awesome? That's pretty sweet. Yeah, they're all on the same team this weekend. So more on that. We'll talk about it coming up more on the show tomorrow. But, yeah, the products for Oregon softball are actually all on the same team this week. The schedule ahead is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's a collection of games, and you can always find it on your products viewing guide that Rob Mosley puts together every week on GoDucks.com. Great story on the Sewell family in the Oregonian today. John Canzano talked with Gabriel Sewell, Noah and Panay's father, about their family, their journey. I highly encourage you to read it. Really well done, and just really cool to take an inside look, if you will, at that family. I thought that it was a really good read. Encourage you to check it out. If you missed it, the University of Oregon has announced a virtual town hall this week for students and families. It's tomorrow, September 3rd, 1 o'clock. president.uoregon.edu/virtual-town-hall to watch the live stream. You can email questions ahead of time, anything about the classes that are upcoming, what campus is going to look like, anything that's on your mind, townhall@uoregon.edu. More info, again, president.uoregon.edu/virtual-town-hall for the virtual town hall coming up tomorrow. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, where special diet requests and custom orders are always welcome. Menus, nutrition info, cafeyum.com. Busy show today. Pac-12 also announcing today they're encouraging voting. I love it. They're continuing to do some good things around the Pac-12 with a commitment to National Voter Registration Day. Good stuff from the Pac-12 Conference. Talk to you on the show tomorrow. See you, everybody.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your